Hello, everyone. Ooh. Okay, finally have enough memory to do a video. Okay, I'm gonna try to make this about 10 minutes. But it's gonna be a really good video. This is a topic that I need to talk about and have this on YouTube so that people can reference it. So it's not ever a question because this is a waste of everyone's time because I'm a good person. Um, I grew up with an artist family. My cousin, or my dad's oldest sister, born in Sweden. She married a Filipino, has 6 children. I had a girlfriend in college who I will say that she really liked me, and I kind of went with it there for a while, but it wasn't something that a lot of people knew about. But uh, so I had a black girlfriend in college. I also am accepted by the Native Americans in Leelanau County, where I'm from, whereas a lot of white people aren't. I go to their ghost suppers. I've been invited to their bonfires, where I'm almost always the only white person. So for me to have to like defend myself, I've come to understand that when I'm amongst new people. A lot of times it's not even an issue, but when you come to another country like this and you try to live here and meet people, especially when you're an artist and I create things, that sometimes it becomes a conversation. So I have to color people a certain way when I do my tiles. So I don't want to offend anybody. I want everyone to feel comfortable about who I am because I've every right. Because people should feel comfortable around me. To be honest with you, I'm one of the most discriminated. I've probably been discriminated against just as much as many black people and Native Americans. I'm one of the tallest people around. I'm still single. I'm 39. Constantly, people are always looking at me, saying things, saying jokes. Jokes, they're jokes to them, but to me, they can be hurtful. I've learned to live with it. But they're not nice things. It's just people's reaction. They don't know what else to say, and it doesn't bother me. But when when I see someone in a grocery store, which I hardly ever do, that's as tall as me, I get to see how much taller I am than everybody else. And when I see that, I realize, that it's impactful when people see me, and a lot of people can't keep their mouths shut, and they'll talk about how's the weather up there, stupid stuff like that, which makes me feel like an idiot because half the time I'm not even thinking about some quick comeback to say. So when someone says how's the weather up there, I'm kind of tongue tied, and then I just feel like good, So then I kind of feel like I'm just like and then someone next to them in line will start laughing, and then I'm just like, dude. It's stupid, okay? So in a way, I'm also discriminated against because I'm so tall. So I understand. Maybe that's why the Native Americans. Maybe that's why I'm attractive to, my friend in college. She was one of the only black students in the whole entire college, and she was interested in me. So go figure. So so I guess I just want to talk about this. I'm here in Oda, Norway right now. I'm moving here. My whole life here, give me a break. a lot of changes, a lot of people. I don't have. It's not like I'm handing over my my ACT or my law school admissions test where the admissions let me in. I'm like here. They have to it's the chopping block. This is like, people are getting to know me in real life situations, not me handing over documentation. This is like, so I haven't experienced it before, so it's I go through this a little bit differently than ever before. So Norway is this country where it's very right now it's a right wing. The conservatives run the country politically. They have elections here, so they have a president, a prime minister, I think. It's a woman right now, actually. But Norway also markets Norway wants people to feel comfortable coming here. That it's open for multicultural experience. Even though it's a homogeneous country here, where most of the population is white and they're native Norwegians, there are lots of not minorities, but different races here. There's black people from Africa. I've met several of them. There's Asians, lots of Asians. There's lots of those are the main ones. I don't know where everyone's from. But there's tons of tourists. I just meet people and just it's not a big deal to me. It's just I have customers that are all from all over the world. I've lived with this my whole life. I was a basketball player. I've always been around lots of different people. So okay, so but at the same time, I also have my feelings about things that you have to want something. If you're attracted to white people, then you're attracted. If you want a relationship with a white person, then you're attracted to white people. I mean, I like I was saying in the beginning of this, I had a black girlfriend in college. She wasn't like we weren't like going steady holding hands, but she liked me and I hung out with her. So it was like it wasn't if everyone knew about it, it would have been a big deal. So it's something that, and I knew that, so I couldn't, so am I the bad guy because I had to we hide our friendship? So it's like so something comes up here in Norway that makes me feel like it's possible that I could be viewed in maybe pro-white or something. I mean, it's just such an unnecessary conversation to even have, but it has to come up sometime. So might as well have it documented, my thoughts on things. It's good. I'm happy to do this. So what I'm trying to say is that okay, so this happened when first off, it kind of the story started happening when it came down to three water toys that kids play in the water with. Okay, first of all, I want to say something. Growing up, my mom would buy me things all the time. And she didn't ask my dad for permission to buy me these things. We would go to the beach. She would buy things for us. In fact, when my dad went to teach, we weren't ever supposed to watch TV on school nights, ever. But my dad would teach on Tuesdays and Thursday nights, and when he was teaching, my mom would let us watch TV. So I don't know. Maybe my dad knew that she was doing that. It was part of it. But when he was there was no TV. So it's like I grew up in a household where it wasn't like my dad controlled everything. And my mom controlled it. Yeah, they got in fights about stuff occasionally. Didn't agree with things, but it wasn't like a big deal ever. Like stuff like, I mean, I didn't see it like political correctness. I mean, this was like 25 years ago. I think things have changed a lot. But for instance, okay, so if I had a wife or, and like we had children or something and like, and she wanted, when I go swimming, I like to body surf. I like to body surf. I've never been a big floaty toy person. And that's fine. If my wife wanted to have floaty toys with the kids, that's fine. I'm not going to I'm not this guy, and I understand why this needs to be known about me, but how do you prove this about yourself? That you're going to let someone, if you're to meet someone, how do you let that person know if they want to be in a relationship and live with you that you're going to have the same opinions on things or different opinions, or would I have a problem with something? So, and then sometimes I feel like, why does it even have to be an issue at all? Why do we even have to talk about this? I don't care, about certain things at all. So, for instance, okay, here in Norway, Norway is connected to Africa, not Norway, but Asia or Europe and Africa are kind of like America and South America. They're kind of, so there's more of a pipeline. There's more of a connectiveness you feel when you're in Europe with Africa than when you're in America and Africa. Even though there's lots of people with flamingos in their yards, back in the United States. personally, I've never had like any kind of interest in flamingos. Um, we went to Florida to Disney World when I was a kid, which not everyone got to do, but we went there like 3 times. We flew down there. My dad, was able to take us there. My parents from working, um, they worked really hard. So we went to Disney World, and there was probably flamingos around, and I would see them, and like, it was just like if you go to SeaWorld, there's flamingos, there's sea rays, there's whales. It's just you see them. It's fun. It's not like, but it's like why have we like created this thing where it's like why do water toys have to come in like swans, flamingos, and like unicorns? Why can't we have like a big fish or like I don't know what else there could possibly be. I mean, what does a unicorn have anything to do with the water? Yeah, it's fun. It's imaginative. But if we had a unicorn, then why can't we have other things? Why can't we have a dragon or I don't know, a velociraptor? So I don't care. Flamingos are cool. Swans are cool. Blue herons are cool. Eagles are cool. Okay, so I understand when you're in a community, especially a lot of tourists coming from other countries like you have here in Norway, much more multicultural tourism here than in the United States, or at least in Michigan. So there's lots of cultures here coming here to visit. So you want to make them feel comfortable. Now I believe at some point we will no longer need to feel like we need to make them feel comfortable. Now that's what I feel. I feel at some point we will just know that that anyone is accepted to visit and come in and be a tourist and buy it. Maybe they want to try to move here. If they can try to do it, if the government allows, then that's what they can do. So I can see why. Why it might be in the best interest of the community to show some connectedness to Africa by having a flamingo or having a sculpture in the park that has something to do with a kinship to like a safari animal or something. I mean, it's not. I see the importance of that of showing that. Not only that, but it's nice to have your children to see that and feel like by them seeing that statue. If you had a statue of a giraffe or something, then they would feel that we support that. And with with the whole World War II and the whole all that happened with World War II. I can see why a lot of these countries like Norway and Sweden and the countries like Norway that are very homogeneous with one type of person, they don't want to. They want to make sure that they come across as being a very open society because they are very liberal in Norway. They also are very conservative. So there's all different kinds of people here. So what I'm saying is that I made this tile of these 3 different water toys, and my cousin happened to be posting. He was visiting in Michigan. And he posted a picture of a unicorn water toy. I get my ideas from all over the place. So I noticed on Instagram there was this one of those little mini quick videos. This person had a flamingo water toy, and I was I was thinking about how can I that happened at the same time. So I'm like, man, that's kind of coincidence. I should put those 2 together. But at the same time, there was a little bit of it was a flamingo water toy. So it was just like, man, and I don't even know whose water toy it was. It was just in the picture. It was like, I sure hope that water toy, I was thinking to myself, I'm like, man, what if like a thing like a water toy became like an issue that divided a family? Because they make these water toys, a flamingo, a unicorn, and a swan. And a swan can be white or black. Remember that. But when you buy them, they're gonna be. I'm making a tile. So, go back to the beginning of this conversation where I explained to you that my mom would be the person that would take my sister and I to the beach, and she would buy whatever she wanted to buy us. Maybe to play at the beach. And like I said, we weren't often on water toys. My cousins are. Water toys weren't that available much then. The big ones like they have now that are probably pretty affordable when back in the 80s, those weren't very affordable and there weren't very many options. I think actually we did. We had a giant Shamu. My sister loved that. Just remember that. We did. So I never used it. I was always body surfing. And I was making little boats and I was putting beetles in little boats and putting the boats out in the waves and like as they came in they would crash and I was trying to find all the surviving beetles. I mean that's the kind of stuff I would do. So So how do you let someone know that you're open to things? I guess I'm doing that right now, but you're open to like ideas, but at the same time, I think it should be both ways. So like for instance, if I were to have to choose between a pelican, a swan, and a unicorn, it would be difficult. I think I probably would go with, depending on my mood, I would probably go with the swan. But I could go with the unicorn. It just depends on my mood or something, or maybe how the. So now the question is, of course that doesn't make me racist, but but how do you avoid conflict when it comes to like, for instance, I love raspberries and blueberries, and then I like carrots and cauliflower, broccoli, potatoes. I like those things. But like when it comes this thing for fruit that so many people have, I have nothing against anyone that wants to eat all kinds of fruit, bananas, kiwi, apples. What else? What are the four? Oranges, tangerines, plums. I had this conversation the other day. Part of the thing with me is I worked on a farm and I had the fresh, and I grew up next to orchards, so I always had it really fresh. So whenever you buy it in the store and it's not fresh, you can't savor it, and you can't share savoring it with anybody else because it's not savorable. You just got to choke it down because it's like it's bruised. You can tell it's been in a refrigerator, and it's just not good. It's not as good as what you remember how good it was. So when someone like gets that first quart of strawberries from the store, sometimes they put those strawberries in the cooler for like a day or two, and they don't taste as good. And they're still really good. And for people that haven't grown up on farm markets, they're awesome. Fresh produce, but for me it's not as good, and I can't like even share that with anyone because I know it's not as good as like how good it could be when you pick it right out of the patch. So the same is true like for me bananas. I've never been a big banana guy. When I was really little I loved them, and oranges, but I don't like them now. And why should I force myself to eat them if I like blueberries and raspberries? And we have them now and frozen. I can have them all the time. So that's how I look at it. I guess, it's interesting. Could I possibly look at it like I'm supporting their economy, therefore I can somehow manage to choke down a banana because I know it's going towards a good cause? Good question. I don't know if I could. I've never tried to thinking about it that way. But if I had a wife or girlfriend that liked fruit and that kind of stuff, I mean, my mom liked that kind of fruit all the time. That's all. And so I'm used to that. But how do you tell everyone that? How do you reveal that about yourself? So it's one of those things. I suppose it doesn't matter, and that if someone really wants to be with you, they probably just don't care. But some people can make issues out of it, and I don't want any. I'm like such an easygoing person. It just stinks when it's like I have to feel like I'm struggling to prove who I am. I know that I'm not. I know exactly who I am, but just to feel like you're like proving that to other people, it's frustrating a little bit. But you just doesn't it doesn't stop me at all. It's just one of those little things you just don't know. So so what I wanted to say was is so the tile that I made of the three water toys, I totally didn't even mean to necessarily create it the way that I did, but I knew I wanted the swan on top because that was the one that I preferred. It also was the one that I thought of because I already had the flamingo and I had the unicorn, and for me, it was it was neutral in case my cousin saw it or something. It was neutral if I put the swan in the top. Um, then I decided to put fish riding these water toys for fun. So I traced the water toy and then I traced the fish in the water toy. So it was all they were just traced out, kind of. I just whipped them out really quick, and then I had to carve them. So when I was carving them, they kind of take shape. So I didn't plan it all out exactly. It was kind of like happened. So it happened. The way that it happened was, if you look at the tile, it looks like it looks like there's a male fish on the swan, which was it's just how it happened. I was not thinking, oh, that's going to be a male, but that's what it turned out to be. I can't remember how it turned out that way, but as I was carving them, that was like the one left or something that needed to be the male, or I decided like, oh, we'll do that one as the male. So there was a male fish on it, and the way I showed it was if they had a bikini on or not. So the other two fish were females and they had bikinis on, and one of the fish was like on the unicorn was almost like jumping off. It looked like it was like just gravitating towards the swan tile, and then you have the pelican tile, the pelican water toy, and it's kind of. It looks like the pelican. It looks like the fish is going in the opposite direction, and it kind of, I don't know. If you look at the tile all together, it becomes a political tile in some sense with some people because you have the pelican, you have the unicorn, and the swan, the white swan, and you have the it looked like you had the fish on the unicorn kind of more attracted to the man on the swan. So it wasn't that intended that way. And you could say, well, why wasn't the fish and the pelican interested in the guy in the swan, the fish and the swan? So you can look at it like two different ways. So what happened? It's a very minor thing, but what happened is then somebody posted a picture of this blue duck and a blonde on it. On top, a blonde riding a blue, like one of those yellow rubber duckies, but it was blue, and they had this blonde riding it, and and it was kind of directed at me, and I do see the humor in it, and it's funny, but at the same time, initial impact is, oh, that's really cute, that's funny. Then the day goes by, and then someone says something about something completely different. It makes you think about something else, and then all of a sudden you're just like, man, what? How could that be also interpreted with the blonde riding the blue duck? am I like this joke? Like, it makes me feel like I'm like some kind of like, could this possibly be kind of getting back at me for like making the white swan? But the thing is, the swan could also be painted black on that tile, so it could go either way because there are black swans. So, and then something else happened which ties it all together. But there was this moment last week where this school teacher sent me this instant message about how I could be coming across as a privileged American. It was just a jerk. This girl is she. Every time I've ever had a conversation with her, she always does this. So, she'll say something about what it is you're talking about, and it'll be intentionally designed to like, test you. She's trying to test me. She's trying to see if I'm going to get mad or something. It's just so stupid. It's just you could be doing so many other things, and you got to do that. and and she did it in a bad time because obviously she wasn't even my friend on Facebook. But she was following me, privately. So so you know so so she said that I could look like a privileged. So all of a sudden now I have this new complex I'm thinking about. I'm like, oh, okay, great. Do I look like a privileged American? And it caused me to think about it a little bit. And I'm sure for some people they might look at me, but I think there's so many people that have been really nice to me here in Norway that I don't think that's the general view of me. So but I didn't think of that at first, and now I feel that way. Um, so I copy. I don't like to. I don't want to ever put anyone on Facebook, any of their emails or anything like that, their names, any of that. I don't like to do that. Um, there's been a couple times where I had some jerks, real jerks, and I did some things. So I don't want to make anyone fearful of me, like posting stuff of them in any way. But if if you're gonna send me an instant message and like say something to me like that about how I look like a privileged American, I didn't include her picture of her or her name or anything. Um, and I won't do that with anybody. But it's just like to have someone tell you that it's just hurtful, and then it makes you kind of you know at I'm learning still. So when you're in that learning stage, and she probably knew that being a teacher, you can be influenced a little bit, and then or at least you test. You think about it a little bit. If you ever come here in another country like this, there's so many things that happen that you have to try to understand. Um, different ways that you think things may or may not be, and you're learning it. So anyways, so I copied and I took a screenshot of what she said and then posted it with several things on Facebook to show people that I'm not this privileged American that just got dropped here by my daddy. you know this was all me wanting to do this, all my hard work and money. So it's frustrating when someone tells you that people could be viewing me this way, because then I'm like, great, now how can I prove that? So I posted how much money I made. I just know there's no other way you can do it. So since then, I've had lots of Norwegians here that I've gotten to meet, encouraged me on my Facebook, been very nice, nothing negative. So the point of this conversation is just to mention that I was so this person posts this picture that I know with this blonde and this blue duck, and the joke is that I have blue balls. That's the joke. So I haven't had a girlfriend for years, so here I am in Norway, and 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 I've been in the paper. Everyone read about me, so I don't have a girlfriend here. I'm not going to the bar, so I'm not like hooking up with any chicks. Not on Tinder. Um, I'm not with anyone. So it's like So what So I mean, I've even I don't even know where I heard it, but it was like someone kind of was joking about a Norwegian virgin kind of a thing about me, and and then the blue balls thing with the rubber ducky. It's cute, a cute joke. I can handle jokes. I can laugh with you. Um, but at the same time, it tied in that tile I made, and I didn't want there to be any confusion about my feelings on race, and so that's why I want to make this video, and just so there's no confusion about my thoughts on race, because it's just ridiculous that I would ever have to prove that, but I know I need to somehow, and it's not easy to prove something like that. So I mean, I can say things, but anyways, hopefully this video tells the story a little bit better.